oh God, we're all going to die.
No, as in, oh God, I think you've missed stuff again, and I don't know how you can recover. I think my general view is you're playing this really cautiously, which isn't a bad thing, especially for Cthulhu.
And
But
in a room full of people that inflict harm on themselves with sharp
I'm not
weapons.
sure. Yeah, and as a result, I think you're inadvertently missing things. I mean, it's not about getting into fights and stuff for sure, but I think you might be on the route to miss stuff again. But we'll see. We'll see. We shall see.
I'm just going to say something random, just check the volume coming through. There we go, I just said it.
Yeah.
Randomization.
I tell you what, that's weird. I have got you guys on. In fact, let me just try it again. My volume's a lot higher than yours.
As in you're hearing us louder, or as in you've got your volume setting louder?
I bet Discord have done something with their volume, the sound codecs again.
Well, you turned up, Zed. I knocked you down to 50% again. Sorrow's now at nearly max. Medi's at 50.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm going to have to knock mine down. Okay, we can go whenever you. I'm going to mess around with the volume settings. Yeah.
That's interesting. In the user settings, by device, it said new. So something's changed.
Yeah.
Well, your Discord's perfect, but when you're coming through on Streamlabs, it's opposite.
Okay. Yeah, my inputs and outputs are both set up maximum.
So, let us remind ourselves of where you are. You are in the deepest, darkest, hottest part of the Ethiopian desert. Currently, you are in the vicinity of a volcano. To get here, you travelled from Mersa Fatma across the now disused Italian rail line down into I want to say Iron Point. Let's have a look. Yeah, Iron Point. By way of Kaluli, a village that you kind of stopped off and gathered supplies, got yourself a local guide, etc. Since then, you travelled across country, further into the desert to Dalol, where you encountered a strange sight. The speaker of the village, a woman, a middle-aged woman by the name of Toshombe, I think her name was, had given you a little bit of a kind of an inkling into the life of Dalol. The other thing that you'd noticed about many of the people in Dalol themselves was they bore marks of self-harm. Scratches, cuts. Some people had arms missing, hands missing, limbs missing, feet missing. Many, you even watched everything from younger children up to adults just kind of self-harm, scratch into their arms till they bled, carve things, strange eye-like symbols. You had met with Tashombe. She talked to you about the wind and how the wind was pleased that you had arrived. She'd kind of been a bit dismissive about the dig, quite disinterested, disgusting, not really wanted to talk about it, but very much talking about the wind, how her tribe first heard it several years ago, or some years ago, that she had it revealed to her slowly in a dream in the ways of veneration. Their worship had rewarded by the increase in their number. More and more of the nomadic Darrell tribe had come to this area and started to permanently set up. You witnessed towards the end of this kind of this audience, the man that was translating had offered up his hand, and she kind of placed it up her, for want of a better word, her vestment. And eventually you'd seen blood drip down around her stomach, and the man brought his hand out, and you could see it very badly bleeding and cut and this kind of stum. And at that point, I think you decided to take your leave and get the hell out of Dodge. To which you kind of left, joined up with your guide who had stayed on the outskirts of Dalol village and had continued to take you on to the volcano. The volcano itself didn't really yield any massively interesting things, I don't think. You obviously, if you think it did, let me know, but you certainly confirmed that the site you were at was the dig site south of the mountain. You found that by a number of scattered mundane tools and implements. There was also a cairn, and then some strange rock-like things that you couldn't really identify, but you found quite a few of them. Or you identified them, I think, that they looked like teeth, but you couldn't figure out what they were teeth of. And they were very much stone teeth as well, so perhaps some kind of carving or some kind of statue. But I think you were then thinking a little bit about the liar of many mouths. And I think that was kind of where we left it, wasn't it? We kind of left it with you at the dig site. Nothing massively odd happening. But remind me if I've missed something.
See, I thought we'd gone to the volcano and then to the village.
That's right.
After the sun.
Is that the way round you've gone? Okay.
Yeah, we left it just as we rushed out of the building with the woman with the thing up her chest.
Okay.
And we killed her and solved the mystery and we'd finish.
Well, you hadn't killed her, you hadn't attacked her. But all right, now. So I've got something in my head that I thought and I'm thinking I should have listened to the recording. I guess is what I'm really thinking. So yes, you have come rushing out of the central building. Nobody follows you. Nobody seems to stop you. You come out taking some gulps of kind of like the cool night air. Unsure of what you've seen.
Yeah, if I remember right.
What the hell happened in there?
We've been looking out for the symbols. You were looking out for the symbols, weren't you, Ralph, as we were leaving the building?
Yeah.
See if there's any of those weird symbols that we'd seen protecting the asylum and things. We hadn't found any.
No, I don't recall seeing any.
That's the last thing I remember. So,
so you had spotted some strange symbols carved into the building itself on the inside. There doesn't seem to be anything replicated directly outside.
But none of those symbols matched what we'd seen at the asylum.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Can I make an occult roll? See what they are. Whether they match up with anything that was in the books.
Yeah, you can. Hold on, right. So
Or
do you
I'll
want,
spend a point of occult or something.
you want to split? You don't have to spend a point. I will tell you what you can figure.
Or even anything that matches the symbols on the stones that we found around the barn.
Yeah, bear with me a sec. I need to go back a little bit in my notes here. So, okay, give me even that doesn't really tell me much. So, the symbols that you see, they certainly don't relate to anything that you have seen elsewhere. They're just trying to find. There's a bit in the book that talks about this, and I'm just trying to figure out where it is.
Was it in Cults of the Axumite Empire? Was it?
No. No. I'm just looking in here. There's some notes. I'm sure there were some notes in here about carvings and things that you see. Give me a sec. So, in here and there, some of the symbols that you see, they're not directly the same. They're not identical, but a couple of times when you kind of squinted at them, kind of tilted your head a little bit, looked at them at a slightly different angle, you thought you saw reflections of the mouth-like stain that you saw back in the asylum.
In the asylum?
Yeah.
And they were protection symbols, weren't
You have
Oh,
no
no,
idea.
they-
There were other symbols
Yeah.
that were a mix of cultures. Each of the symbols kind of brought together to create some kind of multicultural, multi-symbolic protection.
Mhm.
But it was this stain, just looked like a water stain that appeared on the wall.
Is that the one? Is that the one that moved, or we perceived as moving?
Could have been.
Or am I remembering something else?
No, I think you're thinking of something else. Hang on. Let me remind you of what it looked like.
Yeah, that's the one I can
Yeah.
remember.
See, it's
I
something that looked
thought
like
in the description somebody kind of went a bit weird and thought it had moved or said something without actually speaking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
looking at that now. I'm seeing from there downwards or someone. So their teeth, nose, shape of the mouth. So this coming out sharp cheekbones and things. That's just jumping out straight as the bottom part of somebody's head.
Yeah, it's like the mouth of Sora. You know, in his helmet.
Yeah, it's Judge Dredd, isn't it? Without the helmet
Yeah,
part.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Or Judge Death, is it? Okay.
Yeah, could well be.
Yeah.
The other thing, did you spend a point of?
Yes, I was going to.
Yeah, give me a point. No, give me a point of spend. Okay. So I bet I didn't upload it, did I? No, because it didn't exist. Okay. As you've kind of come out and you're sort of gathering your thoughts a little bit, something that kind of grabs your attention or kind of hits you a little bit. Some of the scrolling on the walls of the house were in an odd language, a syllable alphabet. The script being called Giez, or G-E apostrophe E-Z. And you know this as the syllable alphabet is widely used, but it's only used today by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. And that makes you pause for a second.
We're all getting out to dodge and you stop.
No, because what comes to your mind at that point, Ralph, is actually a legend that suggested that the bear with me a sec. That a cathedral of the Zion Mariam, or St. Mary of Zion, in the spiritual capital city of Ethiopia, Axum. Or is it Axum? I think it's Axum. Is purportedly to be the resting place of the Ark of the Covenant.
You need to go and purchase a whip, obviously.
How that's relevant? I mean, how that's relevant to everything, you haven't a clue. But that's kind of your pursuit of knowledge and things. It's how you kind of put these things together. So this script, this Ge'ez script, is pretty much only used by Ethiopian Orthodox Church. You haven't heard anybody in the village speak it, but they're certainly scrolling it and writing it on the inside of that building in particular.
Or somebody has, I suppose.
Or somebody has, indeed. Yeah. And yeah, okay.
Because it'd be strange being. Can I? Theology. I've got a point in theology. If I spend a point in theology, that church, is it a normal? Is it a Christian-based church?
Correct. Yes.
So it's not linked to, some weird and wacky mutilation cult or anything daft?
Not that you're aware of. It is. It is the Church of the Cathedral. Let's have a look where it's located. Hang on. Wikipedia tells you everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it lies a lot.
It's an Ethiopian Orthodox Tawahedo church claimed to contain the Ark of the Covenant. The church is located in the town of Aksum in the Tigray region in northern Ethiopia, near the grounds of the obelisks of Aksum. And there is a chapel that's attached to it that you recall reading about that claims to hold the Ark of the Covenant. Obviously, by now, Indiana Jones has kind of raided that place and discovered it's not true, and it's indeed in the hands of the Germans. But yes, it is Christian.
But Christians don't lie.
There is a quiet sobbing, kind of whimpering, coming from your right-hand side as you're kind of heading further away from that central building.
We're at 1934, aren't we?
Say again?
We're 1934, aren't we?
Yeah.
Still there. 2 years until Indy gets there.
You're there?
Just saying.
Maybe it's us that stole it.
You're not the Germans, though.
Well, have you seen my name?
yeah, technically you are the Germans.
Take a look at the sobbing. See where it's coming from.
They're in the shadows of a couple of tents. You can make out what appears to be a small boy curled up with a mangy dog. He seems to be muttering something.
A native or
Looks native. He appears to be muttering something in a far.
you don't understand that, do I?
Don't understand it, no.
Can
but
I try and memorize it or try and listen to is he repeating the same thing over and over again?
he does appear to be repeating the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
I'm going to try to listen to what he's saying and write it down phonetically. Yeah, that's the right word, isn't it?
Okay. Let's do a catch-all. Let's have a look, Mr. Joseph. What do you have that might help you?
Languages.
Oh, you have languages. It's not really a thing you spend points in, but I'll tell you what. My next question is, do you have a notepad and paper with you?
Yes.
You do, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have.
Well, you can. You can always spend a point of preparedness to have such a thing on your possession.
Or you could ask me for mine.
Yeah.
Or you could ask...
I will,
I've got one as well.
I will, yeah. Has anybody got a pen? Sorry, a pencil and a paper?
We both present one, and it's like, why didn't I bring it?
I've only got this secretarian typewriter.
Tell you what, give me a spending art history, and I will allow you to capture phonetically in a book what this boy is saying.
There you go, sir.
Oh. Okay, just make a note somewhere that you have a a Thar saying, from a small boy, so that I can, when you get a chance to translate it, I can tell you what they're saying.
Looking at the body language and state of the dog and things, is it upset at the state of the dog, or is he just hugging it and rocking?
He appears to be asleep.
Oh, right, okay.
Almost kind of cuddling the dog for comfort while he's asleep. I mean, and you can see that the arm that's draped around the dog.
It's like he's having a nightmare and he's trying to.
Yeah.
Comfort. Okay.
Where he would have an arm draped around the dog, it's kind of missing from here. So this part of his arm is gone. It's healed, but not nice.
Just later when we find out this is just a black market for body parts.
Yeah.
If he's asleep, then I've written down what I think. Now I've written it down a couple of times.
Yeah.
While listening, just so I've got. And just keep moving on. I think. I would love to have known where they took that chap who had his hand bitten.
If you remember, they went through the door at the back of the room that you were in.
I was talking to.
Okay. Talking to them.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'd rather go back there. Interesting to know what's happened to his hand and what did it, but I'd rather it not happen to me.
Well, I know, but why did they take him through the back? Is it some kind of strange ceremony where do they heal him back there, or do they? What? I don't know.
They treat the wound.
But just refresh my. She didn't go with them, did she? She stayed on the throne still.
I think she stayed.
She watched you leave, because I think you left as soon as his hand came out, didn't you? You didn't want to stay any longer.
Yeah, so as soon as they started chomping on each other, it was like, yeah, let's make a sharp exit.
Take the keys back out the bowl and go.
Yeah. But no part of this.
That's all right.
Why did that sound like the voice of experience?
Because last time I put my hand up a lady's top, it got bitten.
What are you? What are your aims? I mean, it's night, right? You do have your guide, who's about half a mile out on the edge of the village. He'll have put a tent up at least for him. Are you going to try and stay somewhere in the village, or are you thinking not a good idea?
I'm thinking not a good idea.
Yeah, I want to report back to this. Oh gosh, we got a name, didn't we? And they were part of a group.
The Guardians.
The Guardians, that's right. Yes, I wouldn't mind just telling them what we've seen here, because they have no information really of what's been going on here, do they?
No.
So unless Ralph.
At this point, as you're kind of strolling with purpose towards the edge of the village, a woman kind of heads you off, and you can see that she has, again, a number of cut marks in her arm and is clearly in pain, but she offers you a knife that's still dripping with her blood. And kind of gestures to your own arm.
Shake my head. And watch in case she tries to do it for me.
she starts saying something and gesturing a little bit more determined. Kind of like she waving the knife, and you watch as she plunges it into her arm and drags it a little bit and cuts it, and then she kind of thrusts it towards you and waves her arm at you and nods and keeps speaking.
I'm looking around to see if there's anyone else approaching.
Her voice is starting to get louder for sure. Not too far away, the flap of a tent opens and a man kind of pokes his head out.
No, I'm going to walk more assertively away, and I'm going to be just keeping an eye behind myself as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Give her as wide a berth as possible.
Yeah, come alert for anyone trying to cut us off. And
she yells something as you walk away from her, and a couple more tent flaps around you open. More people step out. One of the people that steps out, it's a middle-aged man, appears to have the equivalent of a cat o' nine tails with loads of pieces of glass in it in his hand that's glistening in the moonlight.
Got all the fucking toys up.
The tone of voice that she uses, is it like angry or demanding or anything, or more like a worried or begging type thing?
You've got reassurance, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. It comes over as an accusatory tone.
Okay. Time to get out of dodge. Sounds like she's accusing us of either not being a follower of the faith or
That's exactly
or
how
something.
that's exactly what it seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've all gone Allah Akbar and you've not gone Allah Akbar back.
Yeah.
Several more people open up and a couple come out with spears.
Alfred, stick the knife in your arm.
Stick my knife in your arm and see if that works. Might mean more.
You getting out of town?
Yeah.
Hell yes.
All right. Are you
Rifle in
running
hand.
or are you just walking a little bit brisker?
Brisker.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
We'll take rather than staying on one path, let's cut through tents and get out of sight and then run.
Okay. All right.
Well, I've got the
actually then-
shadowing, haven't I? So I can.
Reverse shadowing.
Well, here's
Yeah.
what I was going to say is, if you've got fleeing, give me a fleeing roll, and you can spend points. If you don't have fleeing, you can still roll. You just can't spend points. If you've got shadowing, I would let you roll shadowing instead. And poor old Joseph has neither shadowing nor fleeing.
No, I do have stealth, but I. Oh no, I don't have fleeing. Damn.
But you have stealth.
I have stealth.
Okay.
I've got stealth and shadowing and
I'd let
fleeing.
you use the stealth roll. Actually, stealth rather than shadowing, because shadowing's follow somebody, stealth is avoiding, or fleeing is just generally getting out of dodge.
Right.
So Ralph is kind of just picking up the pace, and
yeah,
without thought for being quiet or hiding, he just starts to move very quickly through the.
yeah.
Through...
My plan is to take a sharp through the tents.
Yeah.
And as soon as I break the line of sight, just book it.
Yeah.
In the way we
Whereas
want to go.
you kind of follow Ralph's idea, but you kind of use the shadows a little bit more and take a little bit longer to move between the dark patches of the tents.
I'm trying to decide which ones to do. I'm going to go stealth. Sorry.
Okay. And likewise, Alfred, you do exactly the same. You all needed a 4. You all got more than 4, so that was pretty good. Alfred, at one point, you pass the side of a tent and something catches your eye in the ground. It appears to be still wet. Looks like a crude drawing.
Okay. I'll
It
pick it up.
appears to be the depiction of the phases of the moon, which is a little odd. But the position where the new moon should be, there is a picture of a gaping, befanged mouth.
Okay. If I can pick it up without revealing myself as to where I am, I will do it so that I can show to the others after. If not,
Unfortunately,
then
it's been drawn into the sand and the
right,
hard
okay.
mud. So
Okay, I'll try and memorize it so I can recreate it when we get out of there, and
okay,
I'll sketch it as
do
soon
you
as we
have
get to my safe.
art or art history?
Nope.
Okay.
Do you want to point it out to me if we're close?
Yeah,
You're-
nearby.
I'm going to say you've all split up and gone different ways.
No,
so,
fair days we probably we would have.
Would I have
you-
anything as an investigator for memorizing that type of thing to make notes? But I don't know what skill it would be.
give me a point of forensic evidence.
Here we go.
Okay, cool, got it. And it's because when you get down to it, it does look like it's been kind of drawn in blood,
Yeah, I guess
and
that's
it's
fine.
still tacky. And you stop. You think you've got a couple of moments. Nobody seems to be chasing you at the moment. You do hear further back behind you, all of you. You can hear these yells and cries, and it seems like they are starting to look around the village to try and find you. All three of you, over sort of the space of about 20 minutes, arrive at your guide's tent.
Yeah, when the last one arrives, it's like we might want to move on.
Yep, let's get packed up and get back.
Are we having trouble?
They're
Possibly.
accusing us of something, but we don't understand what they're saying to know what they're calling us. But they're not happy.
Okay. And you can see now on the edge of the village a number of torches start to flare up. We should go, yes?
Yes.
Come.
We don't want to put you in danger.
Okay, you jump on camels. I think you've all got camels, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
And you head away from Dalal. Unfortunately, in order to do so, whilst your guide can get most of your supplies, unfortunately, the tent that he erected, he's had to leave.
Okay.
But he's grabbed the basics that he'd unloaded from his camel, the food and supplies he's managed to grab.
It's their tent anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say we can always replace it with our tent.
Yeah.
Compensation.
And actually, it acts as a decoy because the people of the village kind of head towards that tent, giving you time to get further away over a couple of sand dunes. And so you head slowly back towards Mersefat. No, actually, Cthulhu, not Mersefat. That's far too far. Cthulhu. Again, you travel through most of the night this time. Using the darkness to try and give you cover and the ability to avoid and make it that much more difficult for the Dalal villagers to find you. Arriving a day or so later, I think it was about 12 12, 14 hours, sort of arriving sort of mid-morning back at the village of Cthulhu.
On the way back, I'll either draw out the sketch or show the sketch to Ralph. See if it makes any sense to him. This was carved, for want of a better word, into the floor with blood.
It's an interesting medium for it.
Yeah. Is it a clock telling us when whatever this thing is supposed to be, where the mouths is supposed to appear, or
It would appear that, yes, something along those lines. Possibly this is when the influence is greatest, or you move. Can I spend a point of occult on that? See whether it links to anything else. Obviously, it links to something like
Yeah,
which is very similar, obviously, isn't it?
by all means. It does seem to be.
It's not a new moon tonight, is it? Any chance?
No. But it does seem to represent kind of what you think, that at some point of a new moon, there is no indication when that new moon may be, this fanged thing may appear. But in what form? Is it like the coming of, the second coming of Jesus? Is it just superstitious mumbo jumbo? It's hard to say. There's nothing right now that is hugely tangible in what this could mean beyond, will this thing with many mouths or a befanged mouth appear at the point of a new moon? Is that what their belief system is? And is that what they were moving toward? Or trying to encourage? Now, you do have a guide with you who speaks far.
Is it Richard or
Phonetic?
Yeah,
I believe his name was
Richard or
Richard.
Charles?
So Richard and Charles?
Yes.
So, I'll pull up alongside him and say, I heard this child repeating this over and over again, and I'll try to say it as best I can.
He listens to you, and he says it's a strange phraseology, strange wording. I think it means sent away be the moon, wide open my hole, stars gaze upon my strength.
That sounds gibberish.
I may not have the translation 100% accurate, he says.
Or could be mouth, I guess.
For your phraseology is a little off.
Sorry, I did my best when I was writing it down.
No,
but I may
no.
have got-
It's close.
Right, sent away to the moon.
Sent away be the moon.
Be the moon, sorry.
That's a new moon, isn't it?
Open wide my hole. Stars gaze upon my strength.
Hole as in HOLE or hole as in WHOLE?
HOLE.
And a new moon's when it's the phase of the moon when it disappears, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that would tie in with, what you've just seen there.
Yeah.
So at the point of a new moon, is that when we have a summoning, like in
From my whole
LA?
be open up my mouth as in the chanting or singing or something.
Because they brought something through in LA, allegedly, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, with the big explosion and things at the end, or whatever it was. I mean, open wide my hole could be the way this thing's going to come through.
It's a bit something about stars.
Stars gaze upon my strength.
Could it be breaching the they buried the altar and things, didn't they? The passage to it. Could it be breaching that to open the hole and reveal it to the stars, to the sky, or something, so that it could mean all sorts of things, couldn't it?
Stars would be at night.
Yeah.
So at the night,
Maybe the Guardians know something, because
possibly when's the next new moon?
I would assume that they've been collecting knowledge regarding this thing, so it might make more sense to them.
I hazard a guess you don't just randomly draw this stuff on the floor.
No.
It's been put there for a reason.
Yeah, and it was wet blood, so it was recent.
Yeah, so probably in this. So it's somebody's obviously thinking about this. So I would hazard a guess it's happening.
Yeah, maybe it's
in
something
this
you've seen
cycle
in a
where
dream.
there's a new moon.
They say they had strange dreams, the people that came here, didn't they?
Yeah.
So maybe it's something they saw in one of those dreams.
Maybe that's what the child was having, one of those dreams.
I think we must get back to see the Guardians as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I'm completely on board with that. Yes.
Okay. You arrive back at Cthulhu, and whilst you're talking aloud about this, your guide will absolutely he kind of takes you straight through. If you remember, you met a couple of women, right? Mathai and Muhoho. And he takes you through to Mathai's house, and he calls in afar, and after a few moments she appears at the door, opening the door, and you're back. Did you find what you seek? Or sought?
We found lots more questions.
as is often what happens when you seek knowledge. Come, come. You look like you've been travelling all night.
Was that sniff intentional? As in, you smell like you've been travelling all night.
No.
Yes,
So-
sadly we had to leave, and we haven't rested since yesterday, really.
Is it me or is Meddy's camera frozen?
Maddie's camera's frozen. Yours has a few times tonight as well.
Okay.
It's something with Discord, I think.
Oh, can you hear me okay, though?
Here
Yeah,
we
you,
go.
you sound fine.
So, you agreed to tell me what you found. So please. She calls out and she has some food and things brought to you, laid out, some bowls of water to kind of.
No. I think everybody's gone.
Whatever that tale may be.
Sorry, no, I thought everybody'd gone then, but you're back.
You're still two little squares for me. Is everyone else seeing the same? Or
Yeah,
is
no,
it my...
I can see the same as well.
Ah, right, okay. And I see your background, but I don't see you.
That'll do. Leave it in the background. I'll be back when I'll sort it out during the break.
So how much are you going to tell her?
Everything?
Yeah, I think she's been honest with us and she's helped us immensely. So everything that I've seen.
She listens to you. She doesn't really comment much. She frowns when you talk about the old man and having his arm kind of chomped and eaten by something. Doesn't really know what that could be. She. You've been outside, Cat. You're a bit wet. But she kind of. This is troubling, my friends. Perhaps they wish to bring something. A spirit, maybe. I don't know. But I know of one who might. And I think you've held up your part of our agreement. And I'm beginning to think that you can be trusted. The one you see that could perhaps shed more light on this can be found at the dream-scourged halls of Olothwak. She smiles at you as she looks at your faces as you all go, "What the fuck is
What
that?"
was that last name, sorry?
Olothwak. So OLOTH-WAAQ. Immediately, Ralph, you recognize the name Olothwak. It is a dream god that was worshipped by the obscure Karam tribes that once lived in the area near Adua.
Interesting.
There, she says, you will find the one whom you were searching for.
Ed?
She smiles and nods.
Where was that again, sorry?
The dream.
Dream
No,
Scourge.
I've got the Dream Scourge Halls of
No.
Olathwak.
Yes.
It was a dream god, but what was the location again? Did she say that?
She just said that's where you find
Oh,
it.
okay.
You know it's in the vicinity of Adua,
I do it.
or I think as it's now known as Adwa in modern times. Which puts it crikey. If that is the case, that's a hell of a long way north.
Yeah, it's right near the border, isn't
Oh, yeah, so, oh, got it, yeah, so Eritrea. So you're currently in modern Eritrea. Actually,
it? It's south, isn't it?
it's southeast. It's southwest of where you are, not too far away from Axum. So it is a fair hike, probably 10, 12 days across land from where you are to this location.
Cross desert.
Across the desert, yeah. About 12 days from Dalol / Kaluli.
And what the chance of being a train line going there?
Zero.
Yeah, it looks like it's not that far from where you're. Looks like it's about there.
Yeah. It's just south of the border of Eritrea, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
northeast of that body of water.
Yeah. Yeah. She offers Richard to join you and guide you if you so wish, or she can set you off on the path and you can find it yourself.
I do believe a guide, especially one with the skill of Richard, would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I'm not confident in my skill to get there on my own without a guide.
Okay. And that's the plan? That's what you're going to do?
I think we should rest up here for a day, though.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
set our first light.
you can rest up for the rest of the day. Gives you a good sort of 18 hours of rest and recuperation. Drink, you can rehydrate, cool yourselves down as best as possible. Plan for that journey. The following day, you set off westward, southwesterly. Bunch of provisions, a couple of extra pack animals, etc., to get you on the journey. And the journey it's a good journey. Certainly, Joseph, you very much enjoy it. Getting to trek out, explore, almost, a desert safari, if you like. Taking in the sights, the sounds, the scenes, the animals, the natives as you pass through various villages. You swing by various oases across the desert areas, and it's a good sort of 12-day journey.
I'll try and learn as much as I can from Richard
Yeah,
on the journey as to how to survive in this type of place.
no problem. You can spend some time. I'm not sure whether Ralph is enjoying it.
You get used to reading while nothing on the camp.
It gets you to reading is on the card. But sort of day 12, in the distance, well, actually, probably day 11, maybe even as early as day 10, you can see these kind of hills rising in the distance, and you're definitely heading in that direction. They march closer to you as you kind of continue your southwesterly journey, and gradually you realize that what midway through day 12 of your journey, you pause atop a sand dune, and Richard kind of points towards there, and he says, "There, Dream Scourged Hall." And what you've got is a big geological formation that over time has had the way the wind has whipped down across it, it's carved out vast chasms and caves. It's kind of like this big open, huge canyon, cavern, cave type place.
Okay, I'll look through the binoculars to see if I can see movement or any signs of habitation there.
It's probably 2 miles away.
Right, okay. No smoke signs or anything
No
like that.
smoke signs, nothing. No.
Okay.
And he takes you down off the sand dune and down, and you head towards the canyon. You get to within about half a mile. You realize these things. The cliff faces in front of you are probably anywhere between 100 and 200 feet high. Quite impressive. But atop one of them, Alfred, with your glasses, you spot a figure just standing passively.
Okay, we're being watched. How they got up there, I have no idea, but
Are they armed?
can't tell.
No armament appears to be visible. It seems to be a man wearing maybe just a loincloth, shaggy hair, beard, not traditionally dark-skinned like the natives, but certainly brown skin.
Could be us.
Do you know, I was just thinking the same thing. Because didn't he get chased off into the wilderness, or went off into the wilderness?
Correct. He did.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to hold my hand up and give him a wave.
As you do that, you watch as he waves back and points down into the canyon to your left.
I'll move the binoculars to where he pointed, see if I can see.
It is a smaller cave-like entrance rather than a canyon, but he's definitely pointing to that.
Okay.
In which case,
Head towards that.
head towards
And
him.
then you
Tell
watch
Richard.
from your binoculars, you sweep your binoculars back up, you watch, you're literally just seeing his back disappear as though he's kind of turning and heading down something.
I guess we head there to find out what he wants.
Again,
Or what he knows.
Richard pauses. He says, "This is as far as I go, my friends, for I am forbidden to speak to the white man. I will wait here for you to journey back if you so wish. I will wait 2 days.
Thank you.
I wish you luck, my friends."
Thank you for your help, Richard.
He
See you soon.
He kind of turns off and he goes off and he finds some rocks and some shade and stuff, and he'll go off and pitch his new tent. You continue on to the cave, and you get to the cave entrance. You dismount your camels, you tie them up as best you can outside, and you head into the gloom and the darkness. And as you do so, a light flares up, and a man stands before you.
He got there fast.
But I would like you all, before I give you the picture and the image and the description of the man, to make a 3-point mythos stability test. So you need to be able to. Your target is 4. No, target is 5. And if you fail it, you will lose 3 points of mythos. Of stability, sorry.
Okay, so we're spending stability.
You can spend stability. Let me just double check. It might be a target 4.
Oh, I'm assuming we've had 24-hour refreshes, but if we had any, because we've had.
Yeah, you can hit a
we had full
24-hour refresh. You can no, not yet. Your full refresh will come at the end of this
Right.
chapter, which is almost here. So you can choose. You can either spend point to try and get it, but bear in mind, if you fail it, whatever you spend, you also lose on top of the 3 points.
Target, yeah?
Before you roll, let me give you the target.
I have failed mine anyway, so I will take the 3 points. Plus the 2 I spent.
I'll just double check.
What's the thingy of going negative again?
We'll get there in a second.
If I failed, we will, yeah.
Has somebody gone negative?
Well, I've not rolled yet. I need to know what the target was again.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I might just roll with that. Yeah.
Sorry, the target number is 4.
Okay. So we don't lose. Oh, we didn't gain any stability back from the rest.
No.
Okay,
No,
so
stability you get back when you link up with somebody you know, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Oh. I know you two.
Hi.
Once you lose stability, once your stability goes into negative, I think you start losing sanity. Let me do a check.
It's a shame I can't give you the access, Eddie.
I know. Do you know what? I'd rolled a 1. It wouldn't have. It's just.
I didn't need to spend points, which is annoying.
Oh, 77. Effectively, you suffer shell shock, basically. So whenever your senses register an input reminding you of an incident, you must make a stability check. Oh, no, that's mental illness. Sorry. It's not always obvious.
I'll spend my 2 points. That'll take me to 0, so I won't be going into negative. But if I fail, it's a -3.
Yes.
Okay.
Target 4. Alfred, you're fine. Joseph, yeah, you've failed. Where are you on your stability at the moment?
Me.
Ralph,
You've got the same as me.
You've got the -3.
Yeah,
Yep.
see, I got enough to actually the excess I could give to both of you.
So unfortunately, my stability was low because, I do all the dodgy stuff.
You do?
Yeah.
Right, now I've got to figure out. Bear with me a second. So you've gone into negative, right?
Yeah, -3.
Yeah. So apparently now you can't spend any points in that now because you're negative.
Yeah, I've still got 4 points left to spend.
Yeah, I'm down to 3.
Okay.
Oh, apparently difficulty for all general abilities go up by 1, 2, and if you are -1 to -5. Sorry, Throbbing Cowboy is in chat talking to us.
Is he?
Yeah, he's on Twitch.
Oh, okay. He knows the rules, does he? Better than I do, clearly. Thank you.
It's all right. No, he's just saying.
It's the first time we've had this happen, so I want to make sure we get it right, but I can't find it in the rule book, which is a bit... I'll figure it out. Okay, but anyway, so what do you see? So you do indeed see who you guess to be heirs. A deeply weathered skin colour, profoundly lean, though not unhealthy, unkept hair and beard. But that's not what takes you by surprise. What takes you by surprise is his actual body. For in his chest appears to be a calcified mouth.
Okay.
And we'll pause for a break.
Yeah, please.
Try to figure out.
Wibble.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah.
so back in
Back in 10.
10. Fantastic.
10. Good.
Okay. Yeah, this is where Mehdi goes and gets alcohol to try and cope with the stability. See, I'm fine, so I'll just go get coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, stability is on page 72. Apparently.
Yeah, so there's a box that says, although there's no mechanical effect to losing stability until your pull goes to 0, you can roleplay the effect. So like a 3-point loss, stop a bit, hyperventilate, blinking a lot, maybe sweating. If you talk, you might run away with your own words. Keep doing something comforting, rack the side of your shotgun, hum the Miskatonic fight song, that kind of thing. You know, it'll get you through it. But what I'm trying to find... Ah, got it. It's on page 74. So if your stability ranges from 0 to -5, you are shaken. You can still do your job but seem distracted. You can't spend points from the pools of your investigative abilities, and difficult numbers for all general abilities increase 1. So essentially, he can't concentrate. And you'll just have to hope it comes back.
That's harsh. Right, I'm going for a good smoke. That is scary as hell. It's Jesus with a mouth.
Exactly.
you think we've been overcautious?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's. I mean, the thing with this particular campaign is it's not combat orientated in the slightest. There are bits of combat where it's unavoidable, but there are also bits where you can completely bypass it. You know, I think we've had 2 potential combat scenes in the entire 10 or so times 10 or so sessions we've had of this.
Yeah.
You know, most of it is literally role playing the story. I mean, if you tell me you want more combat, just tell me and I'll give you more combat.
That's fine.
I put some points into combat so that nobody else has to, because of my
It will
background
happen.
as much
It
as
will
anything else. Yeah.
It will absolutely happen, but it's not the focus of this campaign particularly.
Yeah. I've not
It
put a
gets-
lot into it.
It does get more combat focused later, but that I think is just the nature of this particular story.
I must admit, with Joseph, he's going more combat. That's his character.
Yeah, but you're also quite facey. You know, you're very much a traditional face as well in the way you do a lot of the reassurance and a lot of that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I'm not. I let you be the face and Ralph be the smart guy. I'm there for observation and trying to suss out things and keep you also out of danger. So when Wibble comes, I might be leaving you in the dust.
It's all right. I'll be hiding in your dust.
Yeah.
I've only got one in fleece. I won't be going that fast.
It's the end of the last episode really got me. I tell you, that was great.
Well, there's what Etta.
Yeah.
That's what at the hand.
What's up at top?
The same as what we're seeing now on the airs.
Yep. Homer Simpson.
But now and if that's the situation, when you find out what's going on, this might put an interesting dilemma in front of you. We'll see how your characters react when Soren Tar gets back.
Yeah. I'll be checking my belly button. Can you remember, Catherall, the dream that Alfred had? Was it you that had it, or was it Dart that had it before he left?
That must have, I think. I don't remember the dream.
Okay. One of you had a dream. It might have been Dart, and that might be why he chose not to carry on, because it was quite a graphic mouth full of mouths and teeth and things.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
No, definitely doesn't ring any bells to me.
Look at him. Doesn't he look good, Mr. Ayres? The man you've been waiting to meet for years.
Do you know what? He's not all I expected, really.
It's a bit mouthy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Gobby.
Gobby.
All right, are we back?
We can go when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All I will say, the first thing you do see is Joseph's look of disgust on his face and shock and yeah.
Alfred's eyebrows rise a little bit, and that's about it. That's the thing we actually get out of him.
But at this moment in time, Ralph, you're finding it very difficult to come to terms with what you're seeing, to the point that because your stability is in a negative, you are shaken. You can't spend points from your investigative skills. You can still roll. You can still do 0 point investigative work. You just can't put your mind to the more complex detail of where you would spend a point. And any general abilities have an increase of difficulty by 1. So just bear that in mind. And some ideas of how it could affect you: stop a bit, hyperventilate, blinking a lot, sweating. If you talk, you might run away with your own words. You might start doing something that's giving you a little bit of comfort. Like if it was a modern day with a pen, you might be sat there just clicking the pen constantly because it's trying to distract you from what you're seeing. But as the light flares and you see who you imagine to be Ayres, a white American, very deeply tanned, profoundly lean, wears no clothing whatsoever, and you can see his hands and feet deeply calloused, his skin like leather. The mouth in his stomach is half open, has a lopsided sneer of unwholesome lips, and teeth on display that have turned chalky to a chalky dust. He moves slowly and looks at you, almost expectantly.
I want to have a look at these teeth. Are they the similar sort of composition of the ones we found in the crater?
But a little bit smaller.
Right.
I'll say, have you encountered a one called Shombe by any chance?
No.
I suspect she's got a similar. How can I describe this?
Manifestation of the manifestation of what we called a minor mouth. Come. And he turns and kind of very deliberately, very carefully steps. It's almost like his feet are partly in kind of like muscle memory, where he's placing his feet. But you notice that he's clearly able to step around any stones, loose rock, or anything that might, Lego, bricks, that kind of thing, that would cause him any pain to walk on. And he takes you further through a small cave and into a larger cave with a single opening above that kind of casts a pale light on part of the cave. There's clearly a bed in here, a couple of jars, and not a lot else.
Does his body have any signs of self-mutilation? Like
I was
No.
thinking the same.
No.
George Ayres, I'm presuming. How have you survived out here all this time?
With great mental and physical discipline. Beyond saying the no, just to kind of say that sentence takes him probably close to 2 or 3 minutes, as he seems to be trying to find a way, almost like trying to remember how to speak.
Well, if he's been here all this time alone, then we were told that you could perhaps help us.
In what way? And how are you here? Though in my dreams I have seen visitors.
We were recently at a village, Dalal, and there are people there that have been mutilating themselves, and there was the tribeswoman Tashombe seemed to be very much like, well, from what I see now, could possibly be much like you. So that this man put his hand up her shirt, and when it came back out, it was bleeding and missing fingers. As if it'd been bitten.
That is concerning.
Well, more concerning as well, when we were leaving the village, there was a boy asleep, but he needs to sleep. In his sleep, he was saying, "Sent away be the moon, open wide my hole, stars gaze upon my strength." And I'll say it in the translated version, but I'll also take out my note and do it phonetically from what I copied down to see if he understands it and see if he translates it in any different way.
He looks at it. Your wording seems off. This is not. This is not sent away, but banished. This whole rift. Might, not strength. Though that latter conveys the same meaning.
So, banish be the moon, open wide my rift, stars gaze upon my might.
Are we due an eclipse or something soon?
Still means the same thing to me. It's still a new moon. I would have thought.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. If it was banished be the moon, could it be an eclipse rather than a new moon? Does this picture mean anything to you? I'll show him the sketch of the bloody thing that I found.
He shakes his head and hands it back.
This was drawn by one of the villagers that
You have not told me who you are.
I apologise.
Why you are at my house.
Just as he's speaking, can I look around and see if there's any of the markings on the wall that were like in the sanatorium or in the near the barn in LA?
There are nothing.
There's none of those what have been described to me as being protective runes and things.
Yep, there is none of that.
In which case, I'm not going to stick up my hand, but I'm going to nod and say, I'm Joseph Westmore.
He not looks at the other two.
My name's Ralph Hass. I'm trying not to look at the sneering maw that's in his stomach, but I'm finding it quite hard to do that.
Yeah,
just
and
look lower.
he notices that your gaze keeps going to it and then keeps pulling away, and he doesn't really react too much.
My name is Alfred Elliot.
And
We've been hired to investigate what happened to a lady's father, and it's led us to you.
his father? Who was it?
He was.
I'll give Alfred a sideways glance.
Yeah. His name was Walter. He was looking into things that have kind of led us to a trail that you're at the end of.
Let's say he was possibly involved in things in Los Angeles a decade ago.
His eyes flicker for a moment. And seeking this knowledge, are you an enemy or an ally of the liar from beyond?
We don't understand the liar from beyond. I would not say we're an ally because we know nothing about him. As to whether we're an enemy, that's all depends on what we understand.
Well, I cannot help unless I am convinced you seek to lead others from beneath the liar's domination.
So you turned away from the liar. You were a worshipper at one point?
I suppose I was, yes. I remember those activities in 24. Echevarria's cults had me very much enraptured with the thought of what could be and what would be.
What changed your mind?
He looks down at his stomach and then looks back at you.
This happened when you were in Los Angeles.
It happened just before the mountain erupted.
And how did this happen, and why?
I gave myself to the liar, and he rewarded me thus. We
This is
call them. Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
This is a reward?
Some may think so.
I'm assuming it's a mark of the faithful.
Not all bear the mark. Many strive to bear the mark, few gain it.
Is it something you're glad to have?
I have disabused myself of that life. That in itself comes at a great cost.
So this has set you against the liar, to be clear.
I have chosen a life of seclusion and solitude to ensure that this does not consume me. I take it from your reaction. This is the first time you've seen these minor mouths?
It is.
Indeed.
I'm assuming it. How would it consume you? Does it hunger?
It
Does it
hungers.
drive you to similar to what we've seen in the village?
It thrives and feeds on emotion, on pain, on excitement, on socialization. Eventually, as more of these appear, they are used to summon the major mouth, the liar itself.
And is that what was summoned in Los Angeles in 24?
I assume so. I was not there, but I believe that was the intention. And with that, to summon the liar from beyond.
Do you know if Echevarian had the mind mouth?
There was the occasional mouth that would appear in the strangest of places. A dog's back, a tree, a bench,
A chair by any chance?
a chair. They are not dependent on living organisms to manifest, but rather wherever they are worshipped.
Is there a way to remove it, or
Can you destroy the object that they appear on? Say, destroy the bench?
I do not know. All I know is there are certain rituals to deny it, but destroy it. He looks down at his stomach. Destroying it would destroy me.
That's why I was thinking objects rather than people.
Perhaps.
What role did Samson Trammell have in this? He seems to be the only survivor that we've got the name of so far.
Trammell survived?
He's thrived.
How do you mean?
He is extremely wealthy and well protected.
he has taken over Echevarrio's place and role by the looks of it?
Then He must be stopped. He must be deluded like Echevarria. May even be trying to summon the liar again.
Do you know any weaknesses he has? He has the police paid off, or at least some of them. He has armed guards. Is there anything we can use against him?
Just to clarify, I said this guy's not been in LA for a while.
Not been in LA as far as you know since 24.
Yeah, I'm thinking backgrounds or something to discredit him, get people to turn away from him, type thing.
I met Echevarria in 1919. It was later that year that I began attending his rituals, his cult. I introduced him to Edgar Job, a mathematics graduate in 22. Echevarria seemed pleased, took an unusual interest in Job, though I don't know why. I never knew why. I discovered in 22 that Echevarria had been lying to the cult. They weren't truly worshipping Golgoroth as he had led us all to believe, but something else known as the Liar from Beyond. Echevarria realized that I knew, and that's when I was introduced to the inner circle and became the third leg of the stool, as they say, with Trammell and Echevarria. I had some of my own thought on the Liar from Beyond that were pointing to Dalal. And so I contacted a friend,
Cthulhu? That's all
Akuna.
Cthulhu.
That's him, yes. He and I arranged for Echevarria to fund expedition here. We left in the June of 24, arriving here in July of 24. He suddenly doubles over and kind of winces, his hand involuntarily going to his stomach. And for a brief second, you thought the calcified mouth that was scowling seemed to shift slightly in its kind of visage or whatever. I must meditate. Please make of what I have yours. I will speak to you on this more later. Forgive me.
We understand.
And he kind of pushes himself up from the ground, again wincing, holding his stomach. And he disappears further into the cavern system.
Is he being completely forthright? I'll turn to
everything fits so far.
Hmm.
Um,
And he seems to be struggling with his own personal demons, quite literally.
I think he's being truthful with us. And assess honesty.
Yeah, everything he's told you is true so far. The sense you get though is a little bit of distance.
Yeah.
Almost like he doesn't want to remember too much. He's clearly put that chapter in his life as far away from his mind as he possibly can.
And our presence might be waking this thing up. It's social interaction.
Hmm. Yes, that's what he said, wasn't it? If it feeds on social interaction and fear and pain. And the more I see of this man, the more I think back to the village and that woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never have guessed that she could have one of these there. But if nothing else, I think that village needs to be burnt to the ground.
I was going to say cleansed, but
Cleansed, yeah.
same thing. What I'm thinking as well is the villagers cutting themselves. Are they trying to mimic the mouth?
No, well, if he says it feeds off pain, then
Yeah.
they are
We're
feeding
feeding
it,
it as
aren't
well.
they?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that man that put his hand there, that was his last full appendage, wasn't it? His last whole part.
Yep.
And then they took him away. So what did they do with the rest of him? We should have followed, but I couldn't follow.
It was too dangerous with so many people there.
Hmm. Yes, it was. Nothing to do with the fact I filled my breeches.
Throughout the rest of the day, and you can track day turns to night. You know, the hole in the cave. Obviously, you can track the arrival of nighttime. The temperature drops. You light a fire in the cave. Eat what food you've brought with you. Drink. What you do discover is he has very little food and very little water here. Yet, although he's lean, he wasn't malnourished in any way. But there's still no sign of him. As you go through the night and into the following morning, probably close to lunchtime, when he slowly ambles back out of the farthest cave. I'm sorry I was gone for so long. I hope you are fed and comfortable.
I'll look over him, see if anything appears to have changed. Right.
The mouth is in a slightly different position, but still looks calcified.
He's got no new wounds on him or anything like he's inflicted pain
No.
on himself. Or...
No. Just the mouth is no longer scowling, it's partially open now.
You seem to have gained control of yourself. Is this through just medication, or do you have to feed the mouth?
It is through self-denial that I keep it in this state. The more I succumb to normal pleasure, the more it wakes. When it wakes, it will feed. And eventually bring forth a major mouth.
So each one of these minor mouths can summon forth a major mouth.
They can be the instrument of such, yes. The
But
less
they
you
wouldn't.
deny it its pleasures,
Hmm.
the quieter it becomes.
So the village of Dalal, which is quite openly filling the mouth that's there with glutton and wanton haste, in a sense. There could be a major mouth there soon.
Perhaps,
If
if as you say there is a minor mouth and they are feeding it.
I cannot explain what happened there without seeing you. I would not have put two and two together. That the lady there must have a minor mouth that
was
she fed.
was slaying her destroy or cripple the mouth?
Yes, for the mouth will feed upon the dead host and become no more.
Because the villagers, if we destroyed the villagers, it would just feed the mouth.
Yes. Perhaps.
And hopefully there are no more mouths there. Is Dalal, would you think that Dalal has been infected so because it is of its location close to the crater where you were digging, the archaeological site?
It is possible.
What did you find there?
We never opened the inner sanctum as we found the doorway and we were preparing to blast it. The mountain erupted right under where we were.
What would have happened if you'd opened the inner sanctum? You know?
We would have perhaps discovered a major mouth. That is what the research told me. If Akuna survived, he might have more. I was not present when the volcano erupted, so I do not know whether they had opened the door at that.
For the Kuna house.
Yeah, I don't know if Akuna survived because all I've got written down here is Akuna and Airs, open the seal, single mouth, ancient chamber, feed it their being. I was writing very fast.
Yeah, I can't find any record. Oh, okay, this contradicts This says that Kuna in Massa was at dig site when the volcano hit. But you're saying that you weren't.
Oh, sorry, no, that's correct. Yes, no, that was. I thought one of them was absent and one of them was there. Yes, yeah, no.
So
He will.
was
He will
there.
say he doesn't know what happened to Akuna. He doesn't know if he still lives, but he
wasn't there when it went off.
he
so
wasn't there when
fuck
it went
that.
off. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we need to find a Kuna.
He explains to you over the next 2 or 3 hours, very slowly, and very much like he is choosing his words very carefully, that the two types of mouths, the minor mouth and the major mouth. The minor mouth is a lesser visitation of the liar. They can arise spontaneously from worship of the liar, from the saturation of the area with his influence, or due to the call of its adherence in the form of spell. They always apply. They can appear on some surface or some person. A major mouth, as far as he knows, is a portal that connects the liar's area of influence on Earth. And they are direct manifestations of the liar himself. They whisper in his own voice, and they are the size of an automobile.
As big as an automobile.
Yes.
Will they appear at the site of the minor mouth or just in its vicinity?
In its vicinity.
And what happens to the minor mouth when these things appear? Do you know?
Nothing. They continue because they usually manifest because there is worship or its presence. In fact, what he will tell you is once a major mouth appears, there is often a big increase in minor mouths appearing because the liar is able to saturate the area through the mouth with its presence. And thus can then spread. If you can imagine, if people get them on them or animals get them on them, they spread. The mouths, the minor mouths, then kind of influence people. And before you know it, there are more people in a further, in the area, etc.
It's like a virus.
Oh dear.
But it is possible to resist and calcify a minor mouth should it manifest on a person's body. And as he says that, he kind of gestures to his stomach.
Though it's not permanent.
Difficult and requires giving up much.
I was going to say, yes, George, that would mean that the person with the mouth would have to be willing to do that.
Yes.
You have a great willpower, and it seems a very good inner self. that you are able to do this yourself, but from what we've seen at the village, this is not the case.
No. I've come to believe that it would be possible where many people who had exercised or performed the ritual of self-denial, were they to feed themselves to a major mouth, it would destroy it.
But feed themselves? You mean literally or figuratively?
He smiled.
I'm going to go literally.
Yeah.
And who knows this ritual anyway? Just the people that are a member of the cult, or
The ritual of self-denial is not something the cult would ever teach its followers. Know it. I could teach it to you. Are you interested?
Please, we would need to know this so we could teach others.
In my current state, I'm not going anywhere near this. If anybody else wants to mess, then go ahead.
Yeah. No, I am not going to do this.
yeah,
Normally got a desire for this, but absolutely fucking not.
However,
That just means when you feed yourself to the mouth, nothing will happen.
Ralph,
Yeah,
you have a thirst for knowledge.
I do, and somebody else can pick this up and tell me about it later.
So if I invoke your thirst for knowledge and you decline it, you will take a 2-point stability hit. But if I invoke it and you accept it, you gain 2 points of stability.
What do I lose then? If I don't make
An
it.
arm, a leg.
Well, it will put you into... Actually, it wouldn't. To be honest, you're on -3, aren't you, at the moment?
Yeah.
A loss of 2 points will put you -5, will make no difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you go to -6, though, you're in deep shit.
Yeah.
-12, you're dead. Well, you're not dead, you're permanently insane.
Yeah.
Are you not that slightly little bit interested in understanding it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And at some point, I would love to, but at the moment, I'm abhorred by this man that's got a fucking smirking mouth, calcified mouth on his stomach. So if it's something that can, if it's just instructions, then yeah.
He will fit. Right, okay, so let me explain. Mechanically.
Yeah, mechanically, tell me what I need to do, because if it's
Rituals of self-denial.
Yeah.
So what you'll learn from him, you spend a couple of days, is he literally, you might see him in the 3 or 4 days that you're with him initially, you might see him drink once and eat once. Most of the time, when he's not talking to you and he doesn't talk to you for long, he might give you an hour of his time in the day where he will answer questions, and then after that, he goes off on his own. Very much, it is a ritual of self-denial, and it's a ritual of pretty much denying yourself everything.
any form of feeding or any stimulation.
Anything that would be overindulgence, any kind of stimulation. Basically, this is what he explains to you over a couple of days. And once you embrace this, you are able to keep the mouth unfed, and eventually it calcifies. And as long as you keep up these rituals of self-denial, then the mouth will never reform, if you like, and come back to life.
Out of interest, can this be forced on somebody? or do they have to do it willingly?
They have to do it willingly, and I'll explain why in a second.
Right.
So
I thought it would be. But...
the ritual of self-denial is a multi-tiered. It's treated like any skill, right? You can have as many tiers in the skill, as many points in the skill as you wish, but each point is an incremental spend. So tier 1 requires 1 point spend in Cthulhu mythos or hypnosis or occult or psychoanalysis or stability, and investing a week of time to learn the ritual. Because physically you have to do the rituals to take them on so you understand how it works. That will give you a 1 point rating in the unique ability Rituals of Self-Denial. If you have 1 point, you can then make a 5 point spend in any combination of the same roster of abilities and invest a month of time to achieve a rating of 2. A 25 point spend and a year to get to 3. Physically, to get to 5, it's 625 point spend and 100-year investment. Physically, you can't get to 5.
Well, I was going to ask a question. Ayres here, does he look like he's aged? Or does he look like he is... Because he looks quite young there for somebody who's been here 10 years.
Yeah, so I would say he probably looks like he's in his 30s rather than probably knocking on for 50.
Yeah.
Maybe 55.
But
rating points in Rituals of Self-Denial directly reduce stability loss from mouths of all sorts and from other effects which you haven't encountered yet, so I'm not going to talk about. They also... Go on.
No, go on.
They also reduce the damage caused by being bitten or attacked by a mouth. And whenever the manifested mouth's potential damage is reduced to 0, the mouth fully calcifies. So mechanically speaking, if a mouth could do 10 points of damage maximum, if you fed it 10 points worth of rituals of self-denial, and that can be 10 people with 1, it could be 4 people with 3, or whatever, then it would calcify that mouth and basically making it inert, and it's not destroying it, but as long as nothing else happens in the vicinity, if you then buried it so that it wasn't discoverable and people weren't worshipped and the influence couldn't spread, then it would pretty much be out of action.
But just dormant, not dead.
That is the mechanical aspects of the ritual. From a game perspective, effectively, you are learning to take on the rituals. They're physical rituals, physically denying your body and training your body to deny yourself the pleasures that you would normally like. You eat to sustain, you don't eat for pleasure. You wouldn't drink alcohol. You would only drink maybe water whenever you really needed it, but you'd teach your body not to need it very often. Interaction with people, you'll notice over the time that as the days go on, as he's talking to you and answering your questions, he gives you less and less time of the day, and he quite often suffers stomach pains and stomach cramps. And a couple of times you see that calcified look seems to start to fade. And when that happens, he goes off immediately.
So it's not a permanent fix.
Nope.
Only death is a permanent fix.
You have to keep on top of it. So you said to acquire that as a piece of learning.
Yeah.
It could be 1 point spent in psychoanalysis.
Correct. It could be psychoanalysis, occult, hypnosis, Cthulhu mythos, but it will cost you a week of your time.
Okay.
Yeah. Has our guide left by now?
By now, he probably would have left. Yeah.
But the whole thing is, it's not a permanent fix, though, is it?
No.
Correct.
And they've all got to find their own caves to live in.
No, they've just all got to learn to deny their own pleasures. Obviously, I mean, there isn't anything again, speaking mechanically, there isn't anything that says you can't go about a normal life, right? There isn't anything in here that says you can't do anything, but the assumption is that if you were affected by a mouth, you know how to withstand its, if you came in the presence of a mouth, were affected by a mouth, you know how to withstand its desires. And are less easy to corrupt, if you like. It's whether or not you think it's a necessity as you go forwards to learn this, or whether you don't care.
I think it would be something that Ralph would take the time to do.
I was going to say, on the basis of you can learn to do it without it costing you any more of your stability, Ralph would definitely want to at least spend a week.
Yeah, I as soon as I thought that I was, mentally able to put myself through that, Ralph, already plans to do that. So,
Alfred doesn't.
Alfred doesn't.
No, because it sounds like it's potentially something against the Catholic faith to me.
Yeah.
It's going into worship of or ritual that's not natural, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just like Lent, really, isn't it?
That's another interesting thing. How's Alfred's faith been affected by this revelation?
Yeah. I suppose the nature of faith, you've got to believe that there's things that are beyond understanding, but this is not a good thing to find out about by any means, because it's
okay. Well, by your estimations, it will take you at least 12 days to get back to Mercer Fatma, from where you are. So there isn't enough time really for you to kind of go back, leave Ralph here, and then come back and collect him. Unless Ralph wants to go for a 2-point spend and stay a month. But once you've got the 1-point spend and you've learnt that from George, you can get the 2-point spend however you want to do it at a later date.
I'm assuming I can just take the time. Yeah.
Just take the time to reapply the principles and bolster yourself up. Absolutely.
Joseph wouldn't, because at the end of the day, if he can't drink and he can't have a bit of fun every now and again, what's the point of living?
Yeah, Joseph and self-control doesn't really go hand in hand, does it?
Again,
I don't need
knowing the ritual of self-denial doesn't mean you have to practice it. It just means you understand where you, in the presence of a living mouth, you would be able to steel yourself against its influence.
It's a worst case scenario.
Think of it as a potential war.
You're like stealing yourself, and you have the processes in place that if you get affected, that you can
No, in which case, Joseph was under the impression that he'd have to give up alcohol and anything exciting forever.
But bear in mind, if you were in the presence of a mind and mouth that fed on you overindulging in alcohol and getting pissed, you would be feeding it. And so that's the thing, is you would then realise that and be able to turn that off.
Yeah. So what were the points Spence could do in?
So if you wanted to do it, your choice would be a 1 point spend in Cthulhu mythos, or hypnosis, or occult, or psychoanalysis, or stability.
Oh.
See, I think Alfred just shoots the person that's got the mind out and get it over with.
But how would you know that's the thing? Who the person was?
That's what I mean. Once you know, but you'd have to know to be able to start practicing the ritual that there's something nearby.
Yeah.
By the same
What if
method.
it's you?
If it would save people.
That's the thing. You're either saying I can, refrain from politics, or I'm just going to shoot myself, which you wouldn't be able to do because you're a Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
So.
Then I'd probably turn to the church.
And they tell you to refrain from any activities.
In which case you're
abstain, my son, abstain from the faith.
Yeah, in which case they'd probably end up teaching me the same ritual that you're doing anyway. So I lose nothing by actually not learning it.
So yeah, I'm going to learn it because it would be something interesting, and I think when I go to my parties when this is all over, it would be nice to show other people what I've learned and how.
Okay.
How daring, it's some occult thing to show other people.
By going to a party and not drinking, and they just think that you're insane because they're all drunk.
Okay. Well, if you want to, just let me know.
I've just spent the point.
Okay. Here's what I'll do. Create this. We will call it general ability. I don't know really what it's going to be, but we'll call it general ability. And we'll call it a ritual of self-denial.
I've just spent a point of stability by doing it completely wrong.
No worries. And I will, Joseph.
Damn good roll.
Yeah, I should have got that earlier.
So you should find there is an uncategorized at the bottom of your sheet called Ritual of Self-Denial. Set that to 1 point. Okay. Well, a week passes.
I'll practice my outdoor skills for foraging food and things at the time.
Absolutely. The week passes. What you notice, Ralph and Joseph, that the more George teaches you the ritual, the more the mouth on his body begins to stir. And it seems the harder it is for him to control it. And as you reach sort of the end of that period, it is now visibly coloured. The mouth has begun to salivate and stare.
Yeah, we need to remove ourselves so he can get back to it, I think. If he thinks he'll be able to, which I'll ask him.
He isn't sure. But he tells you not to be worried and not to be sad if that is the case, because he will feed himself to the mouth, thereby destroying the mouth once and for all. But he would do so knowing that at least 2 more have the ability to fight back against the liar and to stop any manifestations that they come across. He's lived, he wouldn't say a full and fruitful life. Certainly the last 9 years have been challenging. But he doesn't regret anything. Certainly since he disavowed the cult and the teachings of Echevarria. But in passing, his final comment, although he does not wish to know, tells you if Trammell has indeed stepped into Echevarria's shoe, it would be foolish to allow him to continue unchallenged. And as difficult as it may be, that burden may lie upon your shoulders. And he wishes you luck.
I'm going to nod to him and say, George Ayres, although we meet under strange circumstances and what we heard of you before were wrong, I find you a most honourable person. And I hope you overcome this, what you have.
He thanks you, bids you farewell, and the last thing you see of him is his shuffling gait as he disappears back into the darkness of the cave. And you journey. Are you heading back to Mirza Fatma?
I do think we need again to report to the
Yes.
the Guardians, definitely to.
Or do you want to go to Cthulhu, where the 2 Guardians are, near Dalal? Or
Yeah.
you've got the 1 Guardian at Mirza Fatma?
No, I thought
I'd say the 2 at the low. Near the low, because I think we're going to have
Dalal
to.
needs to die.
Yeah, Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Because we need to raise Dalal to the ground.
We need to shoot her and kill her, and then raise it to the ground. Otherwise, we're going to end up feeding it beforehand.
Okay.
So we're turning into assassins now.
You are definitely turning into assassin.
Trammell might have to have the same unfortunate accident involving a bullet.
But that might not be enough, remember?
Yeah,
You have to figure out what's going on there.
I don't know.
The journey back to Cthulhu is uneventful again. Once again, the heat builds and you find yourself struggling a little bit with the heat as you travel. But ultimately, you arrive back. So 12 or so days. In total, you'd been gone, 24, 30, you'd been gone a month. So I can't quite remember where the calendar disappeared from here. So I don't know where you are in terms of time frames, which is a bit annoying.
Well, the last time I got a date in game was session 9, and we arrived in Eritrea on the 26th of November. So
I'm going to say
heading to Dalal on the 26th of November.
you're heading to Dalal on the 26th of November.
Yeah.
Dalal was
That's
Days
right,
travel.
26, 27, yeah.
so you went Mirza Fatma, Dalal, sorry, Cthulhu, Dalal, so 27, 28,
Of the volcano.
29, 30. I'm going to say it's probably about Jan the 2nd in total. You've been here for over a month, maybe a month and a bit. It's been probably 2 months since you arrived in Ethiopia. Bearing in mind, I think you flew into Cairo and no, I can't remember. You flew into.
If it's the 2nd of January, we have to decide where we're going to spend New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you're kind of stuck because you're arriving in Kalui on the 2nd of January from your travel from Ayers. You've spent New Year's Eve. You spent New Year's Eve in the middle of the desert.
Going
well, that's
5, 4.
Yeah. Because the journey, you arrive back tired, exhausted, somewhat suffering from heat stroke, but nothing too debilitating.
I was going to say I'll use my outdoors skills to try and minimize.
Yep.
Bad.
You explain to the Guardians the situation. What have you decided to do?
Effectively kill Chombe somewhere. Whichever way will eliminate.
Salt the earth, don't
Yeah. Since the rest are worshipping the mouth, do we see whether or not that puts them off, or do we just destroy it all anyway?
It won't put them off because they thrive on pain. They've come to the part now, from what I've seen, of that village where they just like injure themselves for the pleasure of it.
Is that
it's the location, the proximity to
And don't forget, the people have travelled for miles to get there. It wasn't that big when it first started, from what we were told.
Mm-hmm.
But is it the mouth that's actually giving them the pleasure? I think, is it a side effect of them feeding it, or are they actually enjoying it? So when it's gone, they're still going to carry on.
Well,
I guess it's the proximity to the Greenhill and the temple.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, we won't know this, but you will, because you didn't do the ritual. I want to ask Mathi or Muhoho, sorry. What would they do? I mean, this whole village of Dalal has been taken over. There seems to be this one main woman in there, as far as we know, who is infecting with this disease everybody else. And if this disease gets out from this village, it could destroy this village, and then the next, and then the next.
We agree.
It is a question. When's the next eclipse, by the way?
I have no idea.
Last night.
If we're saying it's an eclipse and not a new moon, because we must have already been through a new moon. So.
Yeah, it's like, while you're learning this, the event happened.
The world's ended.
The game's over anyway.
Look, there's a big, huge mouth in the sky.
In a minute.
It's 34, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, 35.
Okay.
35.
There is a total lunar eclipse in 1935, January 19th to the 20th. That's lunar. there is a partial solar eclipse in 3 days' time.
So potentially screwed in
Oh my god.
a few days or a few weeks. Unless we need a total solar eclipse in case we're okay for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it has its lunar.
Yeah.
With
So
that
we've got
being a cycles of the moon on that thing.
The new moon is January the 5th.
Oh, there you go.
The full moon would be January 19th.
Because it matches it.
So yeah, the lunar and solar eclipse matched perfectly with the new moon and full moon.
It's almost like it was planned.
Yeah, so you've got a full moon on the time of solar
we've got
eclipse of the moon.
rocket launcher handy just to make it easier.
Just a flamethrower, yeah.
On that note, they tell you that they have a few supplies that could help you. And so they will pull out a couple of, hidden under a false floorboard, under one of their houses, under a rug, under some scattered dust on top of it. There'll be a small box with a couple of pieces of explosive in it, mostly dynamite, and a couple of, equivalent of Enfield rifles with a couple of clips of ammunition for each.
And a tank.
Sadly not.
Yeah. See, we've got the rifles, we haven't got the explosives, but
Does anybody have the
ideally,
explosive skill?
no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think you do.
Nope, I've got nothing in it.
Okay.
Nothing in it, no.
Well, now's an opportunity for you to learn how to use explosives safely.
Yeah, might be an idea. I'll probably spend points into this at the end of the session.
So,
learn.
I think what we'll do at this point, I'm going to guess that your plan now is to assault the village and try and take her out. And the Guardians agree. If there is any chance that a minor mouth has manifested, and they seem to have an idea of what they are, so they're not too surprised. They tell you that. I'm just having a look. Is that?
Well, they were guarding the entrance, weren't they?
Yeah. Right. Okay. So here's a. As long as an investigator observes a profoundly simple diet, meditates for most of his waking hours, refrains from exertion, is entirely abstinent from sexual and violent activities, speaks no more than a few dozen words a day, a manifested mouth on that investigator's body becomes and remains calcified as long as these practices persist. You can, and then there's a list of what you can and can't do. So this is, and as I said, that's only if it manifests on your body. So there is obviously going to be potential through the course of the campaign for you to have exposure and potential manifestations of mouths on your body. Did you bear that in mind? What I just wanted to look at,
if this was Shadowrun, I'd be speaking to the Italian army at this point as Red, and getting them to convincing them to assault the village because there's,
Yeah, I was thinking getting them involved, but
then again, you don't know whether if they become infected.
Yeah, and they're going to be inflicting pain, which is just going to feed them out.
Can you imagine their leader, their captain, becoming infected with a mouth?
Well, I basically just killing everything in sight. So
I think we have to kill her as an assassination and then cleanse the village just to prevent the amount of pain that's suddenly going to be going through from everyone getting killed.
Are the villagers going to help?
Pardon?
Are the villagers going to help from Cthulhu?
No.
No, it's just us three.
So,
Doubt it, yeah.
what the Guardians tell you, so there's a couple of things. You're given you'll be given on the 3rd of January, you will be given like a note. It's kind of a telegram style note, basically telling you that a Kuna has been spotted in Axum.
He's after the Ark of the Covenant.
That's one piece of information. And the other thing is, the two Guardians here tell you that they can bring themselves and 2 aides, giving you a total of 7 people to assault the village.
See, I'm wondering,
And
should
she simply
I?
said, and she'll tell you that they think the best option is cutting the head off the serpent.
See, my thought was to just surround the village and burn everything down inside it and shoot anything that comes out. But no, that's fine. Walk in, shoot her, walk out.
Or sneak in, blow up the tents with her in it, and then kill everything.
Bear in mind it's a building, not a tent, so it's even better to blow up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, have a think about how I'll prep for an assault on the village next week. Have a think about how you want to do that, and that will be our lead in next. Of course, you can have 2 points for experience this week, as always.
I'm spending those in explosives straight away.
Okay. You were in the war, so I think that's a valid expenditure.
And if they've got dynamite, they can explain how it works, I suppose, at the same time.
Yeah.
Which would make sense to me.
So effectively, you're almost done with Ethiopia. There's not a lot left. I say almost done, not quite true. So you've still got a Kuna to chase down if you wish to.
And Trammel.
Tramel's back in the US.
Yeah.
I need to see if Akuma's got a mouth.
So you've got a Kuna who is, I mean, he was probably a day's travel west of where you were with George Ayres. So the other side of the escarpment, probably a day. We'll put you in Axum, and that's where he was. And then you've got Dalol to deal with.
Yeah, that's priority.
Yeah.
See if you can come up with a creative way to do it with the least impact.
Yeah, at least
Exposure to you, should I say.
and not ended up like Butch and Sundance.
Yeah.
Can we have a 24-hour refresh because we've been traveling all this time?
You can easily have a 24-hour refresh.
Yeah. I just want to see what.
And I think
it does that much, to be fair.
That refreshes. It doesn't.
Ralph. Ralph and Joseph, actually, can you both roll a d6?
Came from Mo Dice are.
Just type / roll 1d6. Okay.
Nice roll. Opposite.
This is where low matters.
Yeah.
So Ralph, if you give yourself bump yourself up to 1 stability. And Joseph, how many stability are you down?
Oh no.
I'm at 2 stability out of 10.
Okay, you can boost yourself up to 5 stability.
Thank you.
And that is the effect of you learning the ritual and kind of coming to terms with what you've seen. Now, typically in the game, if you were to re-encounter the same kind of mythos event, you become desanitized to it. The problem with the mouths is they're all different, and there's no two mouths is the same, and so you can't desanitize yourself, which is why having the ritual of self-denial means you can lower any impacts of seeing mouths in the future. Okay. Hope you enjoyed tonight.
That
Yes.
was
Good.
awesome.
You have a little bit more information. You perhaps have an idea of what happened in 1924 now, or a better idea.
But the nice thing is the stories match up with what George said and what the villagers said, or the guardians said.
Yeah. Now you've just got to figure out how all that ties to Trammell.
Yeah. He has a mouth. I'm gonna. My character at some point is gonna just lose his mind and go just ripping people's clothes off, looking for mouths. Right. So we're back next week, aren't we?
We are back next week. Absolutely. I'm just double checking my diary, actually. We are back next week.
So back next Monday for more of this, and Thursday this week.
Is it Thursday yet?
I know, is it Thursday?
We are back with our D&D game.
Where will we with D&D?
In a cave system.
Yeah, you just found the
Just
Terror.
arrived.
You found
yeah,
Terror.
At
the Terror
nine.
mines, weren't we?
Yes. I need to scribble some ideas down of how you pacify the minds. I mean, the obvious one is you go and you twat everything that's twattable. But maybe that's not sustainable across an entire illithid city.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
So you might have to think creatively about how to pacify things.
It certainly wasn't the intent.
Yeah. Yeah, we just might be playing with less automation.
No,
I'll turn it all on and see what happens, and then I'll probably have to turn a load of it off again.
See if
But
everyone can actually make it on Thursday.
If you need me to log in at any point before Thursday to check stuff, let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to put you out of Foundry because that's just reminded me that I need to reset it for Jerry.
Could you also import my character again?
Yes.
Just for fun, yeah, because I just changed one thing.
I just remembered what I got. I got a feed, didn't I?
See, I sent a message to Das reminding him to level up because when he turned up last game, he hadn't done it. And he waved to me in the reply, and that's as much as I know, so I don't know whether he's actually leveled up or not.
Well, I'll import him again and find out if he has or he hasn't.
Wonderful, and thanks everybody for watching. We've got 4 viewers at the moment, and we have a throbbing cowboy who's a new follower.
Nice. I hope you enjoyed the game, and apologies to Throbbing Cowboy if I don't know the rules. It's one of those systems that I've skirted with for the last 10 years, and
never be asked to learn the rules.
Not fully.
He sent a message when he was sending all these things, and I have the GM screen next to me.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, well, obviously, if he wants to send over any thoughts on, what we could do to make it more fun, that's great.
More fun?
I couldn't possibly take more fun.
No. Or more horrific, even.
Yeah.
Oh, that you can definitely manage.
Well, gradually, you're now getting into the horror aspect, because now you're uncovering bits of what's going on, and it just gets more horrific as we go along. So I can't wait. Can't wait until you figure out everything that's happening.
Well, thank you again very much.
You're welcome. Enjoyed it.